So Jared beat me to this story. Big deal. Jared from Guns and Gadgets, you got me again. But I think we can get a little bit deeper. So let's get deep up into this bit. Sup, Wolverines? My name is John Crump. I'm an investigative journalist. I report on the ATF, FBI, and the agencies and organizations that violate your God-given and constitutionally protected right to bear arms. I am also a gun rights advocate, currently serving as the Virginia State Director for Gun Owners of America. GOA is Washington, D.C.'s only no-compromise gun lobby. Before you get into today's story, I want to ask you a question. Should I drop the intro and just go directly into the story? I started that intro when I was first beginning. I had 0 subscribers and no one knew who I was. People still don't know who I was, but I'm thinking about dropping the intro anyway. So let me know what you think. Also, if you can like, comment, and share, it really helps with the algorithm. Subscribe and ring that bell. Okay, before I start the story, let me just say I'm going to slaughter everyone's names because in Connecticut, having pronounceable names is against the law. Our story starts out with Basil Sakanen driving through a bad neighborhood in Waterbury, Connecticut in his Kia Sorento. This neighborhood was known for drugs and prostitution. I'm just going to call him Basil for the rest of the story because I can't pronounce his last name. He was using his GPS on his iPhone because he had no idea where he was going and his GPS locked up. So instead of getting even more lost, he pulled over to the side of the road and started fiddling with his phone, trying to get it unfrozen. At the same time, a Waterbury police officer named David Andrzejewski, I'm going to call him Officer David, noticed that Basil's car was stopped on the side of the road. So he initiates a traffic stop. Officer David walks up to Basil's car and starts banging on the window. Basil rolls down the window and politely says hi. The officer screams at Basil to turn over his license. Basil hands him his license and his concealed carry permit and says, hey, I got a firearm in the car, which is totally legal to do in Connecticut. At this point, Officer David loses his S, grabs Basil, starts trying to pull him out of the car. Basil reaches down, undoes the seatbelt because apparently Officer David wasn't going to undo his seatbelt. And Officer David drags him out of the car, throws him to the ground, and yells, where's the drugs? Where's the prostitute? Basil has no idea what the hell's going on. Officer David starts patting down Basil and finds $320, a flash drive that contained pictures of Basil's dead dad and videos as well, and a bottle of pills. Officer David starts celebrating, thinking that he found drugs, but what he actually found was Basil's heart medication, nitroglycerin. So he takes Basil, throws him into the police car. Basil has a bad back, so he starts screaming in pain that his back's hurting him. So Officer David grabs the handcuffs that he put on Basil, lifts him up, throws Basil headfirst into the cruiser. So Basil is now partially on the floor of the cruiser in pain, can't see anything, while Officer David goes back to search the car. He recovers a handgun, which is legally owned, and finds nothing else. So he goes back to the car and runs Basil's permit and finds that, hey, it's valid. The handgun's legally owned. And David is a jackass for thinking that Basil is some criminal. But Basil is still in the back of the car facing down when 2 other officers come. One's a sergeant. The officer David asks one of the other officers, what should I rate this guy for? And the sergeant tells him, which I think is kind of despicable. So nothing was found. They give back the gun, let Basil go on his way, but they keep the flash drive with his dead father's pictures and videos and keeps the money. Basil files a complaint and sues the officer and the police department. It goes to federal court where the officer claims that a couple different things, that he had reasonable suspicion that a crime was taking place, and that's why he initiated the stop. he had probable cause to search the car because Basil was a gun owner, and that even if those two things go away, he has qualified immunity. Qualified immunity means that he cannot be sued for mistakes that he makes if the mistakes are made honestly. So the judge looks at Officer David and says, all right, I can see he's in a high crime area. He's pulled over. I can see where you had reasonable suspicion that a crime was happening. So I'm going to grant you that. But the other thing, yeah, you're not getting away with that crap because you did not have probable cause to search a car. You violated his Fourth Amendment right because you did not have any probable cause. And furthermore, I'm taking away your qualified immunity because you're not entitled to it because you clearly violated his rights. And no reasonable officer would have thought that you had probable cause to search the guy, which I think is freaking phenomenal. The judge went on to say, and this judge deserves a lot of credit. Her name is Janet Bon Arrington. Told you. No name is easily pronounced in Connecticut, apparently. She said that if she would allow Officer David to have qualified immunity, it would eviscerate the Fourth Amendment protection for lawful armed individuals. That is insane ruling from a judge, not because it's insane like in a bad way, but insane because it just makes sense. And it's the right decision. And of course, we don't see the right decision a lot of times when it comes to qualified immunity in the police. But this time, it was the right decision. So what does that mean? It means Basil can sue Officer David for everything he has, which I hope he does. All right, so that's where we are now. The lawsuits are going to continue. I will update you when I get more information. Thank you so much to JSD Supply. JSD Supply makes some of the sickest P80 kits, or actually 80% kits in the market, and also Tusk. Tusk is a cryptocurrency focused on the firearms market. All right, with that said, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you like what I do here. I have a Patreon. Check out my Patreon at patreon.com/John Crump. I have a live channel where we talk to all sorts of different people, and that can be found at youtube.com/John Crump Live. With that, stay ever vigilant, stay ever free, keeping the fight. I am out. Wolverines, motherfucker.